let's just jump right in, man. Let's first of all, let's introduce you guys, who you guys are, where we are, and then we'll kind of jump into kind of what's on our hearts as far as what we've had a lot of conversations about, the three of us, about just the state of affairs in this industry. Whether we want to make it specific to baseball or just player development as a whole, I think we'll kind of intersect and touch on all that, man. But you know, for me and Rock, I think for us it was just an opportunity for us to be able to highlight a great program that you guys put together. This place is incredible. We're only in like one half of this complex, you know what I mean? But it's my favorite place, man. So definitely excited to be here with you guys. But yeah, why don't you guys just give a quick, intro to who you are and I guess how you kind of came into South Fork and all that kind of stuff like that, and we'll just kind of rock from there. Cool.
Yeah, I'm Michael Closa, general manager of SouthFork Sports. We're in the field house right now. I mean, we built this place in 2021. Kind of saw the demand for the space and everything.
Yeah.
We were about to cannibalize, whether that be with our programs, with the teams, and Steve and I just saw the necessity for us and our community to grow and give players a place to train and practice and grow. We felt like we've done that in the past 10 years, so we've been open since 2015. It's been a fun ride. I'm actually Steve's nephew. So
I never knew that.
Yep.
Yeah, I was waiting to figure something out.
Yep. So kind of came into the family business, was the first front desk employee, and went to college, played football at Augustana in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Came back and stepped into the general manager role, and it's been a blast ever since. I mean, being an entrepreneur has been awesome. I feel like I've got a big piece of this business in terms of just helping it grow and being here and building this community, making sure the staff knows kind of our standard and building up just young entrepreneurs in themselves, just kind of coming up, college kids, high school kids.
Right.
And just kind of building that culture around South Fork and helping the not only the teams but our specific players know, like, hey, when you come into South Fork, y'all better reset your cages, reset the equipment to how it's supposed to be, because I mean, player development is player development on the field and off the field, right? We're trying to grow young men and young women in this industry, and obviously y'all know because y'all are doing it. So that's kind of my background and where I came from.
Good deal. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Steve Jennings, owner of South Fork Sports. Really my vision when it came to building this place was like I explained earlier, is just the lack of space, the lack of facilities for kids in the baseball and softball community. I was actively coaching my son, and we just couldn't find the place. And everybody we were coaching with and in that community was having the same problems, and it was just a problem that I felt like I could solve. Background: I actually graduated from Texas A&M. Did not play baseball down there. Graduated, went into the corporate world of logistics and industrial distribution, and it was 15 years in that realm, and I decided I wanted to work for myself. And went down the small business. I've bought and sold multiple small businesses over the last 20 years. When this became an opportunity, it was actually almost as going to start as a hobby, and it got so big so fast with the need and the demand of the youth sports community that probably within a year I was full-time here.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's kind of worked out more than I expected.
Yeah.
But I'm proud of what we've done, and we haven't even really scratched the surface of what we're doing.
Awesome. Sorry. I got it. So this, people see me and Rock, and the people that we sat down with and talked with, and this is probably the first I've been kind of more in my element per se, with my baseball background and stuff like that. Played a hefty dose of football. I love it as well, but yeah, that's where I really cut my teeth in. So for me, it's near and dear to my heart when we talk about the training facility space, coaching specifically in this sport, because it's very unique in terms of, I feel that development for some, let me be careful, I guess when I say this, for some, development is not necessarily, it's not achieved, let me say it that way, the way that people conceptualize it in their head, right? So owner, GM, whoever, right, when they sit down, they build these complexes or these facilities, right? It's pretty cookie cutter, where they're just necessarily just putting cages in there and bringing in coaches and letting that kind of just ride out, right? And then we get to talking about, well, you know, we develop players here and we do this and we do that. And then it gets to a point where demand gets too high, right? Some kids get left out to dry, or you might have a situation where you have teams going on, and then you got the very elite teams, and you got the teams at the bottom. Development's just not there. They're never reaching the top teams, and it's just a system, right? And there's money being flown in, and it's just it turns into kind of this chaotic like tornado of like currency in a sense, right? Time currency, money currency, right? We're like, where are we really getting with this, right? So when we talk about how you guys built South Fork or get into how you guys built South Fork, what was kind of the idea that you were going for and how you wanted to be different than some of the other organizations that you have seen, that your children were involved in, that you know about, like kind of what was the thought process when you were going into it from that?
Yeah, well, the initial thought was just to provide space
Yeah.
and provide facilities. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't, and it didn't matter if it was which organization,
Yeah.
at what level of play that you were coming from. I mean, we just wanted, I have a love for the game. I mean, I love baseball. I mean, I always have. That was just my passion.
Yeah.
So you want to build a place where, the youth and the kids and the softball players, baseball players, they can have that same passion.
Yeah.
And it can be at different levels. And that's the one thing. Sometimes, one time I was sitting at a facility prior to building this, and I'm sitting there, and my son was really young, and that facility just really acted like, and it wasn't even anything specific as other than I felt like they weren't real interested in this 5 or 6 year old, or that 5 and 6 year old, or this 5 and 6 year old.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat there thinking, well, you know what? In 3 years, this 5-year-old is going to be an 8-year-old, and then he's going to be an 11-year-old. So that's where you build it from the ground up. So, one of the main things I wanted the facility. It was that's really what it was, just to give space, and then we would provide and find people that could help teach and help these athletes develop at any level that they want to. They want to do it for fun. They want to just wreck. That's 100% fantastic. If they want to, push themselves to go to this level, to that level, or have, I would never discourage any young man or young boy that says, I want to play in the major leagues.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's go do it. All right. But if you want to, this is what they do, or I want to play college. If you want to, understand this is what they do. And you just got to make that decision every step of the way.
Yeah.
So, having over the 10 years, we feel like we provided space, we provided great staff, and we've got guys and gals from an instructor standpoint that do help these kids develop. But as I look at it, it's still, the system's still not right. And you've got, there's great organizations out there, there's great coaches out there, but there's also organizations that they talk development, but they don't back up their talk.
Yep.
Or they don't do it in a coordinated way that makes sense. This team and that organization may be fantastic at development. The same organization might have a team that literally, maybe under the same umbrella, they don't get it.
Yeah.
So it's just trying to put the pieces together to where whatever level these athletes want to be at, we put them in the right place and give them the right facilities and the right resources as much as they want to. I get it. Look, we built this facility. We're in we monetize the youth sports industry the way that it is.
Yeah.
But I justify it by we're providing this space that these athletes would not have otherwise. So you have to run your business.
Yeah.
What I've also seen, just generally from a facility standpoint, I mean, I've seen what you need is somebody that, one, either has great baseball or softball experience and knows what they're doing in that realm, or, I'm experiencing it, but where my real experience is finding people that are smarter than me that can do that for me. The difference between these facilities that really thrive and the ones that don't, they may have great baseball people, but if those baseball people are not business people and or don't have business people understanding what they need to do from that standpoint, it doesn't work. And then you have the ones that are business people that don't have the baseball or the baseball contacts. And we grew that contact list. We grew 10 years. Our contact and our base of people that we know and resources we pull, we didn't have 10 years ago. It was a slow, steady, and now we're at a point where you look out there and you look at the organizations and you look at what they're providing, you look at the dollars that they're charging. We can do that in one area, one building or in one facility, and we can do it better, I think. Just because we have the resources, we have the everything that they need in one spot.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of, I never thought I would really be sitting here thinking I'm going to build an organization. But here we are. We're going to build an organization. And we're going to welcome anybody else. We're not going to be exclusive. But we want to give a program and present a program and build a program that, hey, if we're fit for you and you believe in our process, it's going to be, you're going to benefit. It's going to be of tremendous value for you.
I think something that came to mind when I think about this place is I feel that, to your point about certain places where they may have excellent coaching, right, but the business acumen may not necessarily be there, where I think you guys, in my opinion, were able to kind of set yourselves apart and create this momentum that we're going to get into. I'm going to let you guys talk about what's coming down the pike, but correct me if I'm wrong, when you started SouthFork, you guys didn't jump into SouthFork as like, we are going to have, our teams and our this, and this coach does this team and this coach does that. You provided the space, brought the resources in to occupy the space, and kind of let demand and your expertise and knowing what's necessary for player development, you kind of let that shape SouthFork to now where you get to a point where you can say, if I were to ingratiate anybody, whether it's a team affiliate or my own, right, they have all of the resources that they need to where we don't have to have the teams then try and go out and get those resources while we're still charging you, saying that we're going to give you those resources. Because then that's where, I think some of the discomfort comes from players and parents and stuff like that, where it's like, hey, I want to be committed to, holistic development for my player, and we're paying for that kind of on the promise that you're going to execute on that. I feel like here at SouthFork, you guys have all the infrastructure. Now it's just a matter of like, do we really want to rock and roll? Okay, let's get it then. You know what I mean? So I think that, in my opinion, and I don't know if I made sense with kind of breaking that down. Sure. To me, that's kind of looks like what it turned into. I mean, as a GM, would you think that as well? Kind of like how you guys have scaled this thing over the last couple of years?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it started. I mean, as Steve told y'all when we were walking around, it started in 2 buildings and an outdoor field, and it just kind of grew as time and as we saw necessary with the change of the environment. I mean, 10 years ago we weren't having kids that were playing year round with no breaks, and that's kind of what it's developed into, which is completely fine as long as it's done the right way. I mean, there's really no downtime anymore from what we've seen. I mean, they might have a week or two and then it's right into tryout season for the fall, or high school year tryout season in the spring. And especially in high school, when you go into that fall program, you better be ready to go. I mean, they're not doing straight tryouts in the spring. They're trying you out in the workout room, on the field during in and outs on practice in the fall. Some of these coaches around here look at you in the fall and they don't even offer you a tryout in the spring. So just making sure these kids are ready to go on the field and off the field in terms of recovery, and making sure they're educated on that stuff. So with the recovery room that we've kind of built, seeing the need for that with just kind of growth plate injuries and little league elbow, little league shoulder, and this, that, and the other is kind of just how we've grown and evolved. And obviously with the field house and the growth of the performance area, it's just kind of one of those things.
Yeah, I feel it. Because I think, go ahead. Yeah.
And I think too, we're doing it anyways. So these teams are practicing out here, but I would venture to guess and that we're probably 50% of the players that are on teams out here in these organizations that are practicing out here, they're coming to us for training anyways. They're members from a facility standpoint. They're working with our instructors. The piece that we don't have is the actual on the field stuff.
Yeah.
We're leaving it to someone else. So why don't we take that? We know what we're doing, and we will continue to, we will recruit coaches. I've been through it's amazing. I coached my older son till he was about 12. Then I want him. You need to go play for someone else.
Yeah.
I want to be your fan. I want to be your support system as opposed to your coach.
Right. Yeah.
And that team we were an independent team up until we let those guys go and go find their kind of their next step to get them ready for high school and college at the time. There's 6 of them playing college right now. I mean, one's a captain at Yale. It's just, so that group was fantastic. And from my standpoint now, you go back to a younger son that's starting over. Really starting over. He's right at 9U, and he's got the same little group. So we've already built the method of how to take them from there to there. So why not spread it over, multiple teams and building it within a system?
Yeah.
So when we recruit coaches, they're going to be in our system.
Correct.
I want them to have individual. I want coaches. They've got to have their personalities.
Yeah.
Because players, players take to different coaches, and there's ones that need to be coached hard. There's ones that need to be hugged all the time. But they've got to be within our system, but they're going to help us build the system, and we will continuously improve the system as we go. But we feel like we have a pretty good little stepping stone of how to get them from early startup to where they need to get them ready for high school, and if they want to play college, and beyond that.
Yeah.
So,
do you feel like there is this battle to get the community, I'll just say it that way, to get the community to understand player development the way that we see it, right? Because I think back to my days when I was playing, I didn't have anything like this. Now, I always preface, I feel like my career and how I got to where I was, it was pretty non-traditional, specifically in the baseball space, right? I didn't play for an organization. I played for, I think, the Patriots going into my freshman year of college, right? Just the summer, just getting ready for fall ball in college. So I did that for a couple months, but outside of that, I really didn't play for a team. I just did high school ball. I didn't do a year-round program. I remember even just stuff like when I was in college, learning. To me at that time, I kind of was like, that don't make sense to me, but like starting to hear the rumblings of like training or getting kind of like a post-game lift in, right? And stuff like that. I remember kind of being like, I'm sore, bro. I'm tired. I'm not about to go lift right now. I don't want to do that, right? So just things like that as we've gotten to 2025 where like there's so many different advancements. And Rock, I know you obviously can touch on this like crazy, but from you guys' perspective, do you feel like that is something that you got to sit down with parents and be like, hey, if you want to get to where we are right now in 2025, if you want your player to get here, this is what it costs now. It don't cost the same as what it did in 2008 through 2012 when I was coming through high school, right? It's a whole different landscape, right? So are you kind of having to go through that, tug of war with them?
I don't think so. I think they're craving it.
Yep.
I think parents, they're right, especially in this area, but I think parents are craving a plan for their kids. And they're craving development. They're not even worried in most cases about the cost in a lot of ways. Wow. They're wanting to provide in this competitive environment, for better or worse, they're wanting to provide their kids the best opportunity to get them to what that kid wants to do, passion-wise. Yeah. And it can be baseball, it can be football, it can be band. It could be anything.
Yeah.
It really could. So I think they're begging for it. They're begging for programs. They're begging for a roadmap to show me how to do it. They don't know. I didn't know as much with my older son. I went through it. He went through college. I saw it. I know what it takes. I see these athletes. I see when, I saw him step on his college campus after they recruited him, thinking he's the man.
Everybody on that team, the man.
And the first meeting, there's 70 kids in there for baseball.
Yep.
And the coaches are saying, there's a good chance 25 of you won't even make it past Thanksgiving.
Yep. Right. Yep. And then
So
you got the travel roster.
yeah, so it's and that was before. Now it's a whole different ballgame with NIL, the transfer portal. I mean, coming out of high school, if you're good enough to really get recruited from a baseball perspective at a D1 school, you're probably going to get drafted. I mean, that's kind of where you're at.
And honestly, a lot of D1 players, that's kind of, you were at some point some type of prospect.
Right.
Absolutely.
Even back then, that's kind of held true in that space.
You probably defer being drafted depending on where you thought you'd be drafted.
Sure. You could always get drafted. You can always, they put the clauses in. I mean, we have an instructor here that was playing for the Rough Riders.
Yeah.
He's leaving in August for a year because his timeline to get his school paid for by his professional team is running up, running out.
Yeah.
So he's got to go get his master's, and then he, hopefully he'll come back.
Yeah.
But I think they're craving it, and they're craving for the knowledge, and they're craving for to trust somebody to give them that roadmap.
Yeah.
You
So break
can't.
that down. What's the South Fork roadmap?
So I think it's an interesting conversation I had with a good friend of mine who has two kids right now playing at Baylor.
Okay.
Both his sons are playing, teammates of my son. Yeah. We were sitting in the weight room probably 3 or 4 months ago. We're watching them. He started asking about my little Joe, my little leaguer now. And he just said, what's funny? Thinking back to when our son started at Joey's age. I mean, we were so, we had to. It was like we were in a race, or we had to hurry to get them, developed or get them so passionate about the game. He goes, really, up until 11U, nothing matters. Anything that happened in youth, from a baseball perspective in youth sports, youth baseball, anything before 5th or really 6th grade, it really didn't matter. The only things that did was when they were in 5th or 6th grade, do they still love the game, and do they still have fun playing it?
Right.
Now, did you teach them the fundamentals? Did you teach them how to basically play the game? Do you teach them how to throw and catch? Is his work does his work ethic and what he wants to do as far as how much time he spends on his craft, so to speak, it doesn't match what he's saying his goal is.
Yeah.
So going back to your question, the roadmap is, look, early on, teach them the fundamentals, master the throwing and catching, master it. Yeah. Master it so they can play any position out there. Yeah. Okay, the hitting's going to come. Once they throw and catch, the game gets really fun.
Yeah. And and everybody can hit like that, just be honest.
Yeah,
and then
and then you get to then develop them in the early kid pitch ages. Man, get them to where when you have a team and you move them from coach pitch to kid pitch, they can all pitch. The tournament scene is a disaster at that age. I think we said it earlier. Mm-hmm. They're playing more games in a weekend at 9, 10, 11, 12 than your high schools. Colleges never play 5, 6 games in a weekend. We just went through a full 2-3 weeks of these World Series, week-long World Series. You've got coaches and teams and parents that are perfectly fine letting their kids go play, 9 games in 6 games with 10 players or 11 players. Yep. That's insane. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's insane. Yeah. But they don't know any better. They think that's what the system is. That's the way the tournaments are. So that's what they do. They feel like if they don't do it, they're falling behind. And it's just, you've got to spend time on the skills.
Yeah.
And you can't do that by throwing them out there every week in 4 or 5 games, and you're not practicing, you're not developing. So, what we envision our program too is that, like, if you're not kid pitching, going to a tournament's that's not really a smart thing to do. What does it do for you? Practice. Practice. Get in a competitive league.
Mm-hmm.
So you're playing some good competition. If you're, my philosophy is you always want to be at least a half a step skill-wise lower than what you're playing. You want to be having to pedal fast just to keep up.
Yes.
That's what you want to do. So get in a competitive league, work on, so our coach pitch, 2 practices a week. One's going to be a field practice talking about game management. One's going to be a skills practice. Plus you build classes that they can come in, and it's not your whole team has to come in. It's the players have to make that decision how much they want to work.
Yeah.
When you have to, and then once you get to early kid pitch, play your competitive league, 1 tournament a month is fine.
Yeah.
9U, 10U maybe. Maybe if your team's really good and you need competition and everybody can pitch and you have pitching, maybe you can go a couple of months. And then once you get up to 5th grade, 6th grade, now you got to start. Unfortunately, you don't have competitive leagues. If somebody ever really does it, and there's a lot of factors why that doesn't work, if you know what I mean, to get your games in, then you're going to have to play some tournaments. But you got to have these coaches that only place 9 or 10 people on their roster because they're not comfortable or they don't have the experience explaining and dealing with parents. Because the parents don't have. I mean, a lot of it's ignorance on the parent standpoint. They don't want to see their kid ever to sit down.
Yes.
So you just have to. You've got to find a balance of game management, skill management, and the priority has to be health, though. Because if you go through and you're putting so much pressure on these kids at 8, 9, 10, 11 in tournaments, they're not going to they're not going to enjoy the game. They're not going to enjoy the sport. So, it's just more of a stepping stone in getting them ready to where just fun, skill development, competition. I'm a competitor. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't care what game you're playing. I don't care if it's 5U T-ball and they don't even keep score. Your goal is to win.
Yes.
But that's just part of, part of competing. And even part of our program, we want our off-season programs, so we'll roll into off-season programs, we'll develop them, but we want those off-season programs to not just to be built for baseball. I want our players, my kids, little Joe, he's playing basketball right now. He comes over here and hits and throws every day, but he's playing basketball. And then basketball ends in next 30 days, and then they go into flag football. So we want all these athletes. They need to, and that's the great thing about the leagues format for the young guys, because you can practice Sunday or Monday, play a Thursday game, and Saturday left that for soccer and football, and let them play, let them be athletic. So so that the plan is to it would be a it's a consistent I guess movement toward development, but it's also in some ways you don't have to rush it, but we will have them ready. I mean, you get early ages, make the game fun, learn the game, get your skills to get you to the pitching and to the first couple years. Refine that, get into the more advanced. So once you get into 5th or 6th grade, now you're talking. Now that middle school, 5th through 8th grade, that's your high school prep. That is 100% high school. We are going to get you ready, if you're willing to work. We're going to get you ready where you can walk on any of these high school, and our goal is not to make the freshman team. Our goal, or the JV2.
Right.
Our goal is at a minimum JV1.
Yeah.
Because your high school coaches, your head coaches, they're the varsity coaches. Typically, JV1 practices a lot with the varsity. You want to get to where you're in with those coaches.
Right.
No disrespect to the JV2 and the freshman coaches. But a lot of them know, basketball. They know a lot about basketball and football, and baseball might not be their expertise.
Right.
Mike, you guys hit on was it August? Got some big news coming in August. So you guys go ahead and break that news, I guess, for
You want to get it or I'll get it?
Community. Absolutely. You guys, how you want to do it?
Yeah, so I mean, here in the spring, I mean, we're gonna roll out the SF Titans. So following the roadmap that Steve talked about, it's gonna be from top down. We want to start right. So we don't want to go and make 50 teams right off the bat, right? A team or two at each age level from 7U to 12U. We want to start with the coach pitch age, work them up, and get to where, like Steve said, we were getting these kids ready to go into kid pitch, ready to pitch, ready to play, knowing the game, loving the game, like all of us do, and just work on that development. So here, September 1, we're actively looking for coaches, and we're going to start rolling out these coaches. We got some coaches lined up. We'll get them posted here in a little bit. And then in October, we're full steam ahead on tryouts. We'll be posting out all the sort of content of information, whether that be what teams, what coaches are formed. And we're not just going to develop teams for the heck of it. We're going to make sure we've got the coaches vetted out. I mean, we're going to have a code of conduct policy for the coaches, for the teams, and everybody involved, because we want to make sure they're making a good name for themselves and a good name for the brand. That comes down to picking up every little piece of trash in the locker room. We don't want any trash left out, because the bare bones of it, that's where we make young men and young women of these athletes. Exactly. The character development on top of the player development. And that's where we're coming from. That's where we see a hole in the industry, and why we do want to roll out the SF Titans and get it rolling and kind of make this the place to be in the area.
Yeah, nice. I love it. I'm excited, man. Go ahead.
So I'm a man of very few words until I'm not. So so if I start rambling, tap me on the shoulder. See, but no, just listening to what you guys have going on. One of the things that gets me really, really fired up is I'm a strength and conditioning coach, performance coach. And what I found is great organizations, right? They usually start from the top down. If you want to build a great organization, it's the top down, right? It starts with a central head of knowledge and expertise and elite levels of capability and desire, and then from there it matriculates its way down and you create an organization. Whereas when you're trying to develop people, it's typically from the bottom up, and those who are near the top, so to speak, that information is passed down, right? So when I hear you guys talk about developing athletes holistically, when we talk about starting at the youngest of young, I heard you say roadmap. If you guys would like to, just with the beginning of all this stuff, right, it being in its infancy, but it's revving up pretty quickly, I mean, just tell the community and those who you are looking to ingratiate into what you guys are doing, what that roadmap looks like. Because on the way over here, I saw things that I was just completely amazed by. I mean, it's not just facilities, but you guys already have some of the inner workings as it pertains to holistic development, from medical to, we talked about mental health and things of that nature. So what does that roadmap look like for those who are a part of what is SouthFork?
Yeah, and I think that's where it's really rolled, where we've come full circle. We put all the pieces together first.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of trying to build teams and build organization and then bring the pieces afterwards, we feel like we understand. We understand, what the community wants, what their parents want, what the players want. We understand. I'm a big proponent of making sure these kids are healthy. They understand how to take care of their body, educate them themselves, even at young ages. I mean, educate them how to take care of their body, what they should do or not do before games, after games. So, it's just really, it's as much an education. I think that the community and the youth sports is craving plans and education, and we can give it to them. And we're going to give them, we set expectations. You're coming into our organization, this is what we're going to do. These are the expectations. This is what you can expect from us, first of all. You can expect from me as a facility owner. You can expect, here's what you expect from our coaches. In turn, here's what I'm going to expect from you as a parent, you as a player. All right, we're going to teach you how to play the game. We're going to teach you how to keep yourself healthy. We're going to teach you how to be positive, to positively impact your community and your schools and your teammates. I'm going to teach you how to be good teammates, teach you how to stay healthy. So when you come into the program, you're going to have access to everything. Even 7U, 8U. My little 9s right now, they're just now starting pitching. And they come into the elixir room.
Yeah.
I mean, they line up there pregame, postgame, they'll come in, get some work in. So that's really educating the parents and the players and really reinforcing that the resources you have, the players that make it are going to use them all.
Right.
And if you're not using them all, you're gonna fall behind a little bit. So I mean, that's just really, I mean, there's no way around that.
Right.
So
I think, and I'll kind of wrap it up and start to put a bow on this thing. This is kind of more so just saying bravo to you guys and what you guys have done so far and what you've built, because what I do think happens is the luxury, I think, of today's athlete is they have access with a place like a SouthFork, or if there's another place out there across the country that has the same, methodology and ideas and stuff like that. The athlete today has access to so much knowledge that when we were coming up, we just didn't have, right? So to your point of how you brought all the resources inside of this complex, I like to call it a complex, because there's just so many different pieces here. Bringing those resources in for any, I guess I'll say it this way, for any athlete, player, parent that is looking to get insight into what it takes, look no further than SouthFork, because I think what you guys have done is you've modeled, to the best of your ability, you've modeled what it looks like at the next level. So those that have been at the next level, we all can kind of attest to that, right? Where it's like, there's not anything that we necessarily need. So if you're not properly developing, right, you kind of got to look yourself in the mirror and say, what is it about me that is not getting to where I need to get, right? It might be you're not taking advantage of the treatment room. You're not eating right. You're not listening to your nutritionist, whatever it is. But at the next level, they have that system. We talked about systems. Systems is what makes everything go. Not necessarily the people. You can have great people, but if you don't have a great system, it's just not going to work, right? So the NFL teams, MLB teams, all that kind of stuff, they put systems in place, right? So when they bring people in, whether he's a project or he's not, ingratiate them in the system, and then they're like, hey, we can really, then the talent will just explode on the field. You know what I mean? It'll do what it's supposed to do. But keeping them on the field and keeping them healthy and teaching them things, character development, all those different things like that, we got to bring those resources in, right? So I think that is what separates you guys from some that I've seen, that I've been a part of, is, and I don't think always, like, I'm not trying to insinuate that some of these places are not trying to get those resources, right? Maybe some just for whatever reason they necessarily can't at that moment, right? But there also are some out there that just, they're not thinking about it from that perspective. You're thinking about it from just, we need to play, we need to get better, we only get better when we play. No, you get better when you have the proper resources around you, so that when you do go play, playing should be easy. When you guys go on the field, like, it should be second nature. Just go compete and go win. You know what I mean? But there's a whole process that has to go on behind the scenes, right? I listen to a lot of podcasts, ironically, and I was listening actually to Cam Newton's podcast, 4th and 1, not too long ago, and it's one of the fans asked a question. I'm going somewhere with this. He asked him a question basically, and I'm paraphrasing, like, what did a typical day look like for a quarterback in the NFL? And Cam went through the whole process of what it would look like from Sunday when they play the game, and then immediately after the game, leading all the way up to the following game. You can't name the amount of things they have to do, right? If you want to be great, right? From immediately landing off the plane to treatment to film study to prepping for on the plane back from your opponent, you're already game planning for this. Who we got coming up? Start thinking about this. This is how they want to attack. So I'm bringing up to say, like, these organizations, the people that are great, the athletes that are great, they understand systems. Tom Brady put a system around him. Bill Belichick, the Patriots, they have a system. Whatever your favorite is, you want, I guarantee you they have some sort of system. LeBron, they have a system. So that would be my encouragement to those that are not thinking about it in that way. But also, that's me clapping my hands for you guys and saying, way to figure it out, right? Way to understand that that's what's lacking. That's what's necessary for the athlete. There's a million places people can go for development, right? Not every place has that system, right? So I'm excited for what you guys have coming down the pike. I know once you guys roll these teams out, it's going to it's gonna be like clockwork, man. Like they're gonna get in, they're gonna develop. Even if you don't play on the team, if you just are just to come here and utilize your resources, you're just going to get better because it's already set in place for you guys. So I wanted to make sure I said that to you guys, and I want to show people a little bit about what you guys have going on, right? I mean, we can start in here real quick, just real high level, real quick, just kind of talk about the building that we're in, and then we can kind of hit some other couple spots really quick that are part of that roadmap, and then. Maybe we can put a bow on this thing. Cool.
This is our indoor field in the field house. So it's kind of our crown jewel that everyone walks in and gives us the wow factor. But it's 150 by 150, 25-foot shell net. We can adjust bases from softball to coach pitch all the way to 90 feet for the standard bases. We have kids from 7U, 6U, 7U, all the way to college and major league guys that come in and use the field. You can live hit, live pitch on the field. So it's a part of our practice area that we run 60, 65 teams a week through. So we love this space. It's one of 3 sets of team cages that we have in the facility. What we did, especially after COVID, we built team-specific areas that could, so teams could have their own space separated from the individual cage rentals and the lessons as such. But every one of our team cages has double cages, mounds, L screens, baseballs, pitching targets, so you can get your BP and hitting bullpens. So one of our good, just a great area for the teams to have their own space and can do their own practices. So this is our Building of Champion section of the field house. We have an armory, which is our pitching station. We have 4 mounds, a game mound, have all the technology, TrackMan, Rapsodo. This is where we have a lot of our throwing and pitching programs. We have college level, pro level guys that come in and do a lot of off-season work as well. So great area for our pitchers and our throwers. And then after they get in their pitching, and they have the weight room, full weight room, running area. So we train them to get them bigger, faster, stronger, make them better athletes. All right, well, this is our elixir recovery room. We installed this in a couple of years ago, and we use this for our athletes that can come in, our members, team memberships. They can come in and get their pre and post workout recovery. You see a lot of the athletes come in after the weekend, Mondays, after their long weekends and playing, just to kind of recover. Got compression boots, red light therapy, ice and heat therapy as well. So trying to keep our athletes up and running, healthy as they kind of go through their journey. So this is what we call the PDC building, our player development building. What we use for this is our individual lessons, individual cage rentals. This is our cages for our members that can come in. They can call in the same day, and then we have open space. They can come in and get some extra work. So a nice environment for lessons and individual cage rentals and work. As we send, like we said, the team cages, we send our team out to the same team cages. So it's nice and calm in here, so we can get a lot of good work in.
Man, I appreciate y'all coming out, just kind of letting us have a platform to just talk about what's going on here and showing off the facility. Building these connections is what it's all about. Making sure we're surrounding ourselves with the right people and putting them in the right places to make our athletes and our families successful and in the right spot they want. So I mean, we already started talking about doing some business and doing some stuff. So it's been real fun having y'all out. Excited to get the SF Titans rolling here in the spring, and with tryouts and posting out all the coaches, it's going to be an exciting time. So thank you for letting us have this platform to come out and do this.
Yeah, no doubt, for sure.